What up, squad? Welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, my name is Robert Brix Glover, and I live in this van. About 9 years ago, I lost 160 pounds, and on this channel, I give away all the knowledge, all the wisdom that I learned during that process for free. So hit the subscribe button. And at your request, guys, we brought back the transformation series, and we're kicking it off with none other than my man, Obese to Beast. We talked about loose skin. We talked about his mental health issues. We talked about him thinking he was going to die. It is a very great interview, but before we get into that, this video is sponsored by the 12-Week Transformation 2.0. Listen, guys, this is the most comprehensive weight loss program anywhere on the internet. If you have a question about the weight loss process, I can almost guarantee you that this program answers it. I clearly outline the process step by step from A to Z. There's a 12-week workout program included. There's nutrition information. I teach you how to make a grocery list. I teach you how to track your macros. I teach you how to calculate your calorie requirements. I give you information about mindset, which is the most important part. And I even go into detail about how to get your butt into the gym when you don't feel like it. Listen, I cover every nook and cranny of the weight loss process. This program is designed to make the weight loss process easy for you. So click the link in the description and grab the program right now. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. So if you guys don't know his face, this is John Glod, aka Obese to Beast, one of the OGs in the weight loss space on social media, and I'm honored to have this conversation with you, bro. So hopefully you're okay with going deep, because
yeah, of course,
you know, that's the stuff that matters. You know, the psychological aspects, the emotional part of the journey is I think the thing that people need to hear about the most. All right, so you started off, you were almost 400 pounds.
Yeah, I always say 360, but like, I'm sure you can relate. At my heaviest, I didn't step on a scale.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually step on a scale until I lost weight.
So talk to me about how you got to, let's just say, 400 pounds. Like,
yeah.
How did you become 400 pounds?
So for me, it was like, I was the fat kid my whole life. So like, when I hit like, I think I was like 5 or 6, I ended up having a hernia, and I had to get that removed. And that's when I started gaining weight. My mom would always like, oh, I think it's the drugs they put you on, and I used to be like, maybe that's what it is. But looking back, I think I just became sedentary at that point because I was, you know, bedridden. So
at that point, were you overweight yet?
No, I was like a regular size, you know, but you know, 5. I think 5. I don't remember how old I was, but and then from there is when I started gaining weight. And then so, you know, elementary school I'm chubby, middle school I'm fat, and then like high school I was like the fattest kid at the school kind of thing is what I always say. And I just kept gaining weight. And then so the way that I kind of got to that weight was, so I've talked about this before on my channel, but I was really poor growing up. We didn't have much money. I was taken away from my mom when I was a kid because she was a drug addict, and that I think plays into a lot of herself letting me do things that maybe weren't the best for me. And so, because she really struggled with saying no to things that she had to say no to a lot of stuff because we were poor. But like when it was like food, going to McDonald's, whatever, it was like she could do it, so it was really hard for her to say no.
Yes.
And so I've talked to her about it before, and she holds a lot of guilt of like my size and stuff, so I'm definitely glad I was able to lose the weight. And then so I kept gaining weight, and then when I hit 20 was when I was at my heaviest. And at that point, it's kind of crazy like thinking about how I felt when I was that size, because again, I was 20, so I'm still a kid, really.
Yeah.
And I would constantly think about dying because I was just like, I had this fear that my weight was going to kill me. And once I got to that size, I had already resigned to the fact that it was just when. Yeah. And I had this thought of like, okay, well, I don't know if I'll live to be 30. You know. So
let's talk about that a little bit. So depression and all of these sort of mental health issues are associated with obesity, right? So when you think about some of the darkest times when you were overweight, what is that? What were those moments like? What are some of the worst memories about being overweight?
For me, honestly, like, it was just a feeling of like helplessness. I remember one time there was this night. It doesn't sound that big of a deal when I look back on it, but in the night it was such a big deal. So I was at this party with a group of friends, and we were all hanging out, you know, just like watching movies and whatever. And then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go play hide and seek." And so I'm in like high school at this point, right? And I knew what that meant. So what that means was the kids are going to get together and make out, right? The couples, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. It's like, okay, go hide, and they all hide and I'm alone. And so I just remember like I walked around the block constantly, just like kept walking. And eventually my best friend, who's still my best friend, he like saw me and he was like, dude, what's up? Like what's going on? And I just like broke down because I felt really unwanted and like these were people, like some of the girls I liked and nothing ever happened. And it just like became very frustrating. And so it was just this like, that was one of these moments where I just was so sick of my size. And see, the issue though that I fell into, and I know a lot of other people fall into, is you have this feeling of my weight is making me this. So all I need to do is lose weight and then everything will be good. And it's not, it just doesn't work like that. No. Like as much as I wish I could say I lost weight and I didn't have any mental health issues, I have more now. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it doesn't fix that. Like, it'll fix certain things, of course. Yeah. Like, there's so much stuff that it fixes, but it's just important to me that I, like, don't think it's going to be a silver bullet.
It's not the answer to the problems that people connect being overweight to. It's not the answer. So, were you concerned about loose skin going into weight loss?
Having loose skin is much easier to deal with than all of the things I had to deal with being obese.
Yeah.
Like just as simple as like being able to fit in whatever clothes I want to wear, which for me is like a pretty big deal. Being able to not when I go to a food place, I don't have to worry, or the seat's gonna have armrests. Because if they have armrests, I can't fit in them, Are the booths gonna be big? All of these little things that I don't have to worry about. And so like, yeah, I have loose skin, but it's something that I'm very lucky because that's the thing with loose skin. Everyone is very different. Some people have a lot, some people have a little. I get very annoyed with people that say, try this thing to get rid of loose skin. Yeah. Or if you lost weight this way, if you would have done keto, if you would have done intermittent fasting, you wouldn't have. No, you're a liar. I'm sorry. Like,
I don't think there's any way to prevent it.
There's no, or the people that are like, oh, if you lost weight slower and more healthy. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now, if you have 200 pounds to lose, you're going to have loose skin, regardless of if you lose it in a year or 3 years.
Yeah, right? I think it has a lot to do with your genetics and how you carry your body fat and that
exactly,
sort of thing.
All of that stuff, right? Yeah. But, so for me, I think like, once I had lost the weight, I really did kind of see it. And now, it's not 100% like this because, again, I still struggle with it, right? But like, I really do see it as like, it's a battle scar. As cheesy as that is, I've been saying that for years now, but like, it is. And so I just kind of was like, I earned this loose skin, and I'm at a point now where like, if I really wanted to get rid of it, I could. But I really don't care that much.
Do you want to get rid of it?
Do I want to? No, I don't. I mean, like, if I could snap my fingers, yeah, of course.
But you don't want to deal with
I don't want to deal with the surgery. I don't want to deal with the recovery.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning of your journey. Like, what caused you to reach this breaking point where you decided to go all in with weight loss?
So I call it my click moment. So my click moment happened when I was 20 years old, and I had been watching Miami Ink. on Netflix, like sitting on my bed, like was binge watching it. This was when Netflix was pretty new too, And geez, I'm getting old, man. And so I was like binge watching it. If you don't know what Miami Ink. is, if you're like listening to this, it's basically a show where they, it's a tattoo show where they tattoo people and then they share the people's stories, why you're getting the tattoo, documentary style, right? And at the time I had the 2 tattoos that I have on my forearms, and I really liked tattoos and I was really into them and I really wanted to get more, but I didn't know where to put them because the only places I can think of that I actually liked on my body were my forearms. Like that was pretty much it. And so I like had that running through my head. And then there was an episode that came on where this guy, he was getting a tattoo because he had lost a lot of weight. He was getting like a hamburger kind of thing. And they asked him, oh, how'd you lose the weight? And he said, I honestly don't even remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, it was choices. Like he had to make better choices. And I just remember thinking at that moment, the choices that I've made have led me to where I am right now. I just need to make different choices, And that night, though, I had Panda Express. I had a double entree plate of orange chicken and fried rice, the large soda. Their sodas are huge.
Huge, yeah.
And so I finished that, though. I was like, tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do it. And I did. Like, I woke up the next day, and I remember I woke up feeling a lot lighter. Like, a weight had lifted off of my shoulders. It was almost like I was like...
With just a choice.
Yeah, I just knew that I was going to do it, or at least I was going to give it my best shot, like really try. And so I woke up that morning. I went and I got a haircut. I went to the supermarket and I bought water and sandwich stuff.
Was the haircut significant in any of that?
I think it was like, I think I was like, this is like a new chapter.
Because I'm asking you these specific questions because I want to dig into the psychology of what it was like for you in that moment, right? In your click moment, like, because a lot of people ask me like, what should I do? How do I get myself into gear? Like, how do I,
I understand that those questions, and I wish I could give a better answer. Like something I always say, because I get the same questions. There is nothing I can do, and I believe this. There's nothing anybody can do for you to get you to that point. You have to. It has to flip for you. Like, I wish, trust me, because if I could do it,
so do you think someone can? So if a person really deeply wants to change, they want to lose weight, but they haven't reached their click moment yet. Do you think there's something that a person can do to help manufacture that, or is it just something that has to happen?
I don't think so. Like, honestly, because I feel like if you are truly if you feel that way, then you are there. Like, in my opinion, if you don't truly, like, that moment happens when you are done. When you're rock bottom, when, like, you are ready.
I think it's pain. I think it's pain,
frustration
that leads to that.
It could be anything. I think, honestly, like, I think so many people have because I always ask people the same question, because I do the same type of thing, interview people, right? And everyone has some people it's health, some people it's kids, some people it's, I just want to have a girlfriend, I just want to have a boyfriend, whatever. That's the thing, is like, it's different for everybody. But I feel for most people, because I've actually talked to people that are like, I don't really remember a moment, and I'm like, that's crazy, because like for me, it's
clear for me.
It's ingrained in my head, like that feeling I had of just being done and just being like, I will do whatever it takes to change, right? And like, I think like that moment of clarity, that morning, that day, I was just like, I'm ready to do this. And like, I wish I could tell someone what they need to do to get to that moment, but I haven't been able to find it.
So one of the most important ingredients that I refer to is burning desire. You have to have burning desire, and that's what it sounds like you're describing. It's like this burning desire to change.
Yeah, I think that I would agree, because I had tried to lose weight a few times. One of the best examples is I had a family friend of ours. He was like a police officer. He was like super fit, loved fitness, right? And he was like a family friend of ours for years. And again, growing up, I didn't have much money at all, and so he was like really willing to help. And like, he like took me to Costco and bought me a bunch of healthy food, and like he would show up to my house early in the morning and work out with me. Like, we'd go on like a little mile jog or whatever. And so he like did everything he could for me to be successful. But when he wasn't around me, if I wanted to have whatever, I did. Because
you weren't really ready yet. You weren't really committed.
And I would feel bad, but at the same time, like, the guilt didn't outweigh the hunger, I guess, you know?
We both know how important nutrition is, right? So in the beginning of your journey, what was your plan nutritionally? How did you approach the food aspect?
Dude, I had no idea what I was doing. I call it the common sense diet is what I started with. And this is honestly what I tell people that are starting, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed, especially now. Like, I know the good information, and I could give someone the 100% what I think is the good information. It really doesn't take that much to do. But if you're coming from zero, eating McDonald's every day, that is too much, in my opinion. And so I started, again, it's different for everyone, but when you're trying to lose a lot of weight, right? Like, that's where I come from, and so that's where my mind goes, right? So if you're trying to lose a lot of weight, one of the lucky parts about that is that you can probably make some small changes and see some freaking sick results.
100%.
You know, so what I did was, I did not, like, I cannot stress this enough to anyone that's watching this. I did not know what I was doing. Like, I literally had no idea about nutrition, of anything. No idea. So when I first started, like, the first thing that I did was soda. So I drank a 2 liter of soda a day, easy. Like I would go to 7-Eleven and get the double gulp. That's a 2 liter, like just a different container.
Yeah.
And I would, a lot of times that was just like with a snack. So I would say average at least a 2 liter of soda a day. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to cut out soda because I was absolutely addicted. I drank a ton of soda.
So you cut it completely?
Yeah, I cut it completely out.
Wow.
And so, and then I cut out fast food and junk food. So like basically anything that, no matter how much you know about nutrition, you know these things are probably not the best for you, right? And that's what I did. And I mean, that was a big, and I think part of that was like, I have to do something drastic because it was like, I need to make a change. And I think doing that, seeing results relatively quickly really helped me a lot. I don't, again, that's my journey. I don't tell everyone to do exactly what I've done. Like I would say start with one of those. If that even sounds like a lot, just cut out soda or liquid calories, right?
Yeah.
Like juices, any of that stuff, then do that. Or if you're going out to eat a lot, just cut that one thing out at the start, right? But like just getting started and not, one thing that's really important to me, now I'm not even answering the question, but like one thing that's really important to me, and it's one of my favorite sayings in the entire world, I forget even who I heard it from, but it's don't let perfect get in the way of good enough. So many people want to do the perfect diet, the perfect this, the perfect workout, when in reality, good enough will get you further than most people get.
Yeah.
Like and so, but yeah, that's how I started, literally just cutting that stuff out. And then eventually I saw results, and I kept seeing results. And eventually I started to learn more and do more. Now, full transparency, I struggled with food for a while. I ended up basically putting myself in binge eating because it started off good. Like that was the framework. But then I got to a point where I was like, okay, if I cut this many calories out,
It's all good.
Okay. If I cut if I'm eating 2,000 calories, I'm losing this much weight. What if I eat this many calories? What if I eat 1,500 calories? What if and then I got to a point where I was eating 700.
A lot of people think that's the formula. Eat less, exercise more.
Yeah, and like technically it is.
Technically.
But
yeah.
you can do too much.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And I did too much. I cut out too much. Because then it's very dangerous because when your mindset is cut calories and that's it, like it works, but it's very easy to fall into calories bad, need to avoid them at all costs, which is what I started doing. I got very lucky, and I mean this. Like this was not a thought that I had. It wasn't because I was some genius. I got lucky that I wanted to start working out and lifting because I was actually thinking about joining the military. Obviously, I didn't do that, but like I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, you need to be able to do push-ups and like pull-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that, right? So I was like, it's time for me to start working out. Because at the time, I wasn't really working out. I had lost a lot of my weight not working out. Not going to the gym, maybe doing like elliptical at my house. That was about it. I think I ended up going to the gym after a while, but I would literally only do this cardio. I would like go, I remember I had like a routine. It was like 15 minutes on the elliptical, 15 minutes on the bike, 15 minutes on the treadmill, and then I would leave. Like that was what I did every day.
Yeah.
Not every day, but whenever I would go to the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I was like, okay, I want to start lifting. And then because I started lifting, I got more hungry. And then I started doing more research on how do you build muscle? And then I found YouTube videos. And then I was like, wow, YouTube is pretty cool. Like,
you mentioned being addicted to fast food and sodas and those sort of things. Talk to me about the journey of breaking the addiction. If you've broken the addiction, I still feel like I'm addicted to food, bro.
Really?
I still have to be very mindful about the environments that I put myself in. So talk to me about your relationship with food and your addiction to food.
Yeah, I definitely, for a while I struggled pretty hard with not eating fast food because it was a big part of, like, it was what I ate, you know? I honestly do think my cravings are different now. Like, I really, I do not crave a pizza. Like, I was just walking by Little Caesars. I don't, like, think, oh, I really wish I could
So
have
why
that.
do you think that is? Why do you think your cravings have shifted?
I honestly, I think a big part of it is mindfulness of how it tastes while you're eating it, which is good, of course, but then how you feel after. And like that is one of the biggest things is I think about how do I feel after I eat this thing? And if I feel like garbage, I just don't want to eat it.
And this is what I tell people. When you focus on how the food you're eating is making you feel, what you're going to notice is the craving is going to organically shift. It's going to organically go away. But you have to pay attention to how the food is making you feel. And you also have to value your vitality.
Yeah.
You have to value feeling good. I didn't know to value feeling good. It was totally, I was oblivious to that. But when I started paying attention, it was like, oh, no, I don't want Little Caesars because I'm going to feel like shit.
Yeah, that's why I think, we haven't talked much about exercising, but I think that's why I think like exercise is such a important part of losing weight. Like I think diet is the most important thing as far as getting the weight down, but as far as like keeping the weight off and finding a lifestyle that is sustainable for long term, exercise really helps. Because for me, one of the biggest reasons I don't want to feel like garbage after eating is because I don't want my workout to feel terrible. You know, all of it's related. It's all connected in a certain way, you know? And so for me, like, I don't want to feel terrible because I don't want my workout to feel terrible. I don't want to feel super bloated. I don't want to feel all of these things. And so I try and make the best choice possible. Now, does that mean that I'm never eating out or I'm never going and getting food that I like enjoy or that's quote unquote healthy? No. But I'm like, I know how this is going to make me feel. So I'll try and do it on like a day that I know is a rest day or a day that I know, you know, that I'm not as worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, you're welcome for making that video because I know it just helps you. And I want you to understand this. Listen, you can transform your body. You can have the body of your dreams. You just need the right information and you need to apply it. So check out these two very helpful playlists. There's one that's going to give you information on nutrition and one that's going to give you information on exercise. Good luck on your journey and thank you for watching my video.